evening. On behalf of the Marshall County Bar Association of the Mississippi Bar and the Mississippi Roses chapter of the Links Incorporated, we welcome you tonight to this political forum of the 2021 Mayoral and Alderman Ward 2 candidates. We also want to thank Dr. Ivy Taylor, the president of Rusk College, and the Rusk College communications staff for hosting the event tonight. The Legislative Issues and Public Affairs Committee is a major initiative of the Links Incorporated, and that's why it is important for us, as well as the Marshall County Bar, to bring this forum to you tonight, because we want to emphasize registering to vote, being informed, and then going to vote. Tonight, we hope that you will get just that, being informed of the candidates that's running for mayor and Alderman Ward 2, so that you can make an informed decision when you go to the polls. Therefore, we encourage all registered voters to go to the polls on June the 8th and cast your vote for the candidate of your choice. Those who have not registered to vote, it's too late to vote in the June the 8th election, but we still encourage you to vote for all future elections. Remember, the polls are open 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. on Election Day, and if you're in line at 7, please stay in line and continue to vote. Now on to the forum. Our moderator tonight is Mrs. Sharon Goodman-Hill. Mrs. Goodman-Hill is an instructor of mass communications at Rusk College and hosts A Little Bit of Heaven, a weekday morning, and serves as the music director for WRC in Holly Springs, Mississippi. She serves as the host and producer of Straight Talk Live, a weekly public affairs program on WRC. In addition, she has worked as a reporter in broadcast and print journalism throughout Mississippi. She currently serves as coach and advisor for the award-winning Rusk College Speech and Debate Club. Additionally, she has organized and moderated the Great Debate and activities sponsored by her mass media law class since 2004. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you our moderator for tonight, who will give questions to the candidates. But before I do that, I do want to let you know that all questions were submitted by citizens of Holly Springs, members of the Mississippi Bar, including the Marshall County Bar Association, and other former political candidates or mayors that were in the position in their designated cities. Now I present to you our moderator for this evening, Mrs. Sharon Goodman-Hill.
From the campus of Rusk College in Holly Springs, Mississippi, welcome to the 2021 Political Forum. This political forum will feature two candidates, one for mayor, one for the position of alderman in Ward 2 in the city of Holly Springs. Tonight, we will be keeping up with the Joneses, and I will introduce those candidates in just a minute. I do want you to know what the format and the agenda will be as we go through this political forum. We will introduce the candidates, and they will both have 5 minutes each to introduce themselves and say any opening statement. Then we will go into our question and answer period, where both candidates, even though they are running for different positions, will answer. We want to reiterate the fact that these questions were submitted by the public and various sources, but the candidates have not seen these questions. Also, we would like you to know that all candidates for these positions were invited, but the ones that you do not see tonight decline the invitation. With that being said, again, running for the position of Alderman, Ward 2, we have Mr. Andre Jones. He is a native of Holly Springs, Mississippi, and a graduate of Holly Springs High School. He is married to Sharika, and they have 2 daughters, Sage and Skylin. He has a bachelor's degree from the University of Mississippi. His master's is from Mississippi State University, and a specialist degree from the University of Southern Mississippi. He has 6 years of teaching and coaching experience in the Holly Springs School District. And again, he's running for Ward 2 Alderman. Our next candidate is Mr. Kizer Jones. He is also a native of Holly Springs, Mississippi. He received his degree in business and journalism from the University of Mississippi, his Juris Doctorate degree from the University of Mississippi School of Law. He practices law in Holly Springs and has done so since 1983. He is a member of the First Presbyterian Church of Holly Springs and a Holly Springs Rotary Club former member. Ladies and gentlemen, those are our candidates for tonight. Again, emphasizing the fact one is running for Ward 2 Alderman and one for the mayor's position in Holly Springs. We will now let our candidates open up with their opening statements. Again, both candidates have 5 minutes each to introduce themselves to you with their opening statement. We will start with Mr. Andre Jones.
I'm a native to Holly Springs. I grew up here, graduated from high school here, and as soon as I finished my college degree, my undergrad degree at the University of Mississippi, I returned straight home to get to work. You have entrusted me with our children as far as educating them and meeting their needs, and I'm pretty sure that you can trust me and allow me to meet the needs of every citizen in Ward 2 as I am vying for this position. Some things that I run on, that I stand firm on, is accessibility. I have built a relationship with many of the citizens through my occupation here in Holly Springs. I'm a very approachable person. I also run on accountability. In order for us to find solutions to our problems, we first recognize those problems, and then we got to hold those elected officials accountable. So hold me accountable if I am your candidate. And again, I'm seeking a position of Alderman, Ward 2, and I hope to have you guys support on June 8th.
Madam Moderator, it's a pleasure to be invited here tonight to speak at the 2021 Candidates Forum. I'm Kizer Jones, candidate for mayor for Holly Springs. The election, as you've already alluded to, is June the 8th. This is the general election, and if I encourage everybody to go vote June the 8th. If it's more convenient to vote absentee, you may do so now by going to City Hall and voting absentee from now until June the 5th, the Saturday before the June 8th election. But certainly come out and cast your vote. There will be 2 positions that are left still contested. One for mayor, of which I am one of the 2 candidates for mayor, and then the Alderman Ward 2, of which candidate Andre Jones is one of the 2 candidates there. I am running on a AAA approach to the mayor's office this year. I have said that an effective mayor should be 3 things: an administrator to make sure that city government runs effectively, that department heads are able to run their departments unobstructed, that we hire the best people that we can and then let them do their job. That's what an administrator should do. Also, an advocate. I would be an advocate for the citizens of Holly Springs to be attuned to their needs, to assess what services we can better provide for the citizens of Holly Springs, and to provide those services. And then also an ambassador is the third A. An ambassador to reach out and approach potential businesses for Holly Springs to increase the tax revenues, so that to provide more jobs for the local community. And so that AAA approach is my motto for this year: an administrator, an advocate, and an ambassador. I am a lifelong resident. This is hometown. I love the city. I love being able to practice law here. My clientele over the years has been white, black, probably about a 50-50 ratio. I try to serve everybody on an equal basis. So if you see fit, I would very much appreciate your vote for mayor for Holly Springs. Thank you.
And we thank both of our candidates for those opening statements. We will now begin the question and answer period. We will start with Mr. Andre Jones on both questions, and on each question rather, and you will both have 2 minutes to respond to each question. We will begin this now. I would like for both of you to address this. What are the most pressing issues that the city of Holly Springs faces, and how do you plan to tackle them, Mr. Andre Jones?
After talking, with a lot of people in the city of Holly Springs, we have many needs that are pressing, and one of those that a lot of citizens have a concern on is recreation. I do understand that the recreation department was placed under the street department, which tells me is that the recreation department is maybe just looked at as just pure maintenance. So we want to make recreation relevant again, and we want to have the recreation department back fully functioning with a director as well as an assistant director. So our youth, are able to get out and enjoy some things as far as recreation go. Another issue that a lot of citizens have voiced their concerns on is the sewer and the drainage system. They talk about how it floods their yard and things like that, and how the drains and stuff are clogged up and bagged up and things like that. We do understand that that is a city issue, so that's something that we definitely want to put at the top of our priority list, is addressing those concerns as far as the drains and things like that go.
All right, thank you, Mr. Andre Jones. And now Mr. Kizer Jones.
Yes, I would agree with Andre's good assessment for recreation. It's the needs of the citizens are what we need to focus on. Also, it's been my observation that the streets, even though that some streets have been repaved recently, my idea is Holly Springs, our town square is our face that we need to put front and center, and then from the square work out. And I would propose that all of the streets from the square outward, or those mainly travel streets, are all passable, paved. And also just the cleanliness of the town is what I've seen. Trash is just one thing that I'm going to propose, if we could, a very serious fine for trash offenders, and try to get just to change the culture, if we could, about keeping our town clean, being proud of it. We need to take pride in it. And another thing would be the food and beverage availability. We see just very limited food and beverage service or choices here in Holly Springs. I would try to reach out and encourage more of those, even if they are food trucks, at lunchtime, to come to a designated area, so that residents can have more choices on their meals. Another thing is certainly the utility rates. There's been a big discussion about those. As a mayor, I would do everything I could lawfully to keep those rates as low as and effective as possible. It's going to take some study. I don't have benefit of being part of it yet, but I can assure you that being an effective advocate, one of the A's that I mentioned for citizens would be that you have a good provision of utilities at the most effective, most reasonable rate.
Okay, thank you, Kai. And I think for the rest of the evening, I'll refer to you by your first names,
That's
so
right.
everyone will know
That's
who I am addressing. So, Andre, what are the key skills that you have that will make you successful as an alderman for Holly Springs?
Through my years of teaching and working over at Holly Springs High School, I also serve in the position of athletic coordinator. And in that position, I'm over the budget So I'm able to allocate funds in areas that are needed. And I've been in that position now the past 3 to 4 years. So that's one skill that you got to have as far as being an alderman. And you also got to have the ability to make key decisions. Not to mention, I am the boys basketball coach at Holly Springs High School, so I know how to perform and make decisions under pressure. And I feel like those are some of the skills that are necessary in terms of being an alderman, because an alderman is a very, very important position, anywhere in the municipality, because they handle city business. So you got to have someone in that position that are able to make key decisions, and someone in that position that knows about finance as well.
Thank you. Kai, what skills do you bring to the table that will
Okay.
make you a successful
All right.
mayor?
Well, again, I remind people that I've had a law practice since 1983. With that practice, I've dealt with vast array of people and issues. Dealt with judges, dealt with prosecutors, dealt with I've represented people on both. I have both been a city prosecutor for the city of Holly Springs and been a defense attorney for folks. So I've been on both sides of the fence, as they say, in criminal matters. And you just learn people skills. And so I think that's one of the biggest things. I may be repeating myself a little bit, but again, my approach would be those 3 A's. Be an effective administrator. As owning my own office, I have been an employer. And so I have, had to learn budget, make payroll, do those things, hire and train, and do those things that are necessary to have a successful business. I look at my law office as a small business, so I've got that experience. In being an advocate for citizens, again, in my courtroom experience, my law experience in general, it makes me a good advocate for the citizens of Holly Springs. And then reaching out to other business people, an ambassador. I think, again, with my experience as an attorney, I could meet and recruit potential business for the town.
Thank you. Back to you, Andre. There will be people in your own ward who will not or did not vote for you after the election is over. So if you win this position, how do you plan to engage those who did not vote for you? How will you engage those people?
I plan to engage those people by pretty much, as I said, one of the things that I'm running on is being accessible and being approachable, because I won't just be the representation of just a few citizens in the ward. I'll be a representation of all the citizens in the ward. So we have to have some type of transparency amongst each other, and there's no reason, as I said today, couldn't come to me and talk and tell me about their concerns, and we sit down and conjure up some solutions. So I just look at that approach as being accessible to the people.
Okay. All right. Kai, same question for you. How do you plan to engage those people who, if you win the election, how do you plan to engage the people who did not vote for you?
Well, if and when elected as mayor, my slogan is "Together we can." Thinking of that, what it means to me is together we can accomplish great things. The mayor will need to lead all people, regardless of how they voted in their election, or if they didn't. If they have needs, they will be served, and so there will be no distinction between those that did and did not cast a vote for me. They will be served equally among all.
Okay, thank you, Kai. Kai, you just said something that's going to lead me into my next question. Together, we can accomplish great things. Now, as a longtime employee of Rust College, I'm not a native of Holly Springs or Marshall County, but I've been in this area for almost 30 years now. And in my opinion, one of the things that is missing often is that connection between the city and Rust College. So, Andre, how will you work with Rust College as a large employer and an anchor institution if you are elected?
First, I would just like to commend our new president, Dr. Ivy Taylor here at Rust College. She's coming in, doing some amazing things, getting the students aroused and getting everybody excited, about her presidency and her term here at Rust College. But I plan on creating a good partnership with Rust College that would allow, the city and Rust College to accomplish some things, even on the side of recreation. I know a lot of citizens always voice their concerns about NYSP. Maybe we can create a partnership with Rust College where we're able to, get something like that going again here in the future. But as I said, I would like to work closely with Rust College since it is a college town here, and it's a highlight of our city. So that we definitely want to create a solid partnership with them.
Thank you. Kai, same question.
Well, it's my observation that Rust College is a big employer for the city, and it is a great business asset for the city here. I have met our president, Ivy Taylor, and think very much of her, and of course Ishmael Edwards, a longtime friend too, and several others, but former President Dr. David Beckley I consider a friend as well. So I would just be acknowledge that Rust is an important presence in the city. I would certainly be willing to hear the concerns of the president and others, and just assess those needs and do as much as we could to to promote Rust. Again, it's a treasure for the town, in my opinion. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Kai. Now, this next question is loaded, gentlemen, I think. What is your plan to address citizens' concerns over high utilities? I know you addressed that earlier, Kai, but what are your plans? I want both of you to address this. Do you think, and it's more of a mere question, but you can still think about it, Andre, because I know the citizens will be coming to you if you're elected. So again, what is your plan to address citizens' concerns over high utilities? Would that be something that the city would think about selling the utility company? What about the possibility of adding broadband, Wi-Fi in the utilities like North Central does, I'm told? So I know that's loaded, but let's see, can we tackle that one, Andre?
To begin with, I would just like to say that the city utility department is, if not probably the largest source of revenue for the city. So, if you consider selling the company, to a bigger company, you got some pitfalls in that. We'll lose a lot of revenue. And I'm not sure, what's the maintenance budget is of the utility system, but I am aware, that a lot of substations across the municipality need repairs. So, if we did sell out to a major company, they will be able or have the finances to make those major upgrades and things like that. So you got a disadvantage in an advantage to selling the utility company to a larger company. And as I said, I'm not sure what the budget is for the city utility department, but if it is feasible, I feel that broadband and Wi-Fi is something that this area definitely need, especially on the outskirts of the city. And that's how I feel about that question right there.
Okay, thank you, Andre.
A couple of things come to mind. Going into this race right now, I would not be in favor of a sale of the utility because I think that we would have less input on who we could hire, and that might cost local jobs, and I would definitely not be in favor of that. But we also need to balance that with the rates and the cost to citizens each month. I just want to share one experience that I have, and I would recommend to all, is sign up for and get the measured service. It's a way that you can get a flat monthly fee based on your prior 12 months average and then as it goes up, it might go up just a shade or it might go down just a shade. But each person can right now sign up for that balanced or measured service and know within their budget what their utility bill is going to be each month. Another thing that we could do to save it on expenses is just to watch our rate. They always say set the thermostat back. If you're not at home, turn it off. Turn it back up on those hours that you're at home. So there are things that we can do to cut our own rates, our own monthly expenses down. But the utility service, I think, is effective and run right now. I know that COVID has been an issue. I would be very much in favor, if I were mayor today, of getting getting fully staffed and served, get that building restaffed and fully staffed right now, so that again, if you have a need or had the call to get service, that someone would be there, a live person would be there to take your call.
Okay, thank you, Kai. Let's move on into another question, and one of you alluded to it earlier, I don't remember which one, but talking about the youth, what activities, Andre, do you propose for? And I know if you're elected, you will be over a certain area, Ward 2. However, it doesn't matter. When somebody sees you and they know you have that position, they're coming to you, whether they're in your ward or not. So what are some of those things that you would like to propose, activities for the youth of Holly Springs?
Well, one of the things, as I mentioned earlier, that I would like to see happen again is something similar to the NYSP program, and that would include creating a partnership with Russ, and hopefully, that we both tag team and go out, find some resources, some grants, and hopefully we'll be able to launch a summer program like that. And another thing that I would like to see is our parks and facilities updated that are, open to the public, such as our parks, the basketball courts. They need to be resurfaced. We need new rims, and goals and things of that nature. And, that'll just keep the kids and our youth more engaged as far as going to the park. The swing set as well needs to be updated, and hopefully, we'll be able to add some more playing equipment to our parks across the town. And also, it's many things that you can do in terms of summer programs and activities as far as keeping the youth engaged, because you have a lot of citizens that are willing to volunteer and spearhead a lot of these projects. So I want to be open to hearing those ideas of other volunteers that want to spearhead different activities and things like that, and hopefully create that partnership with the city, and we're able to help out the best we can and leading those programs and making them happen.
Okay, thank you. Now to you, Andre. No, to you, Kai.
Is this specifically for youth or children's services, or just for anything?
Well, for anything, but particularly we're concerned about the youth because, as we get older, we kind of, we settle in, we're okay.
Do.
But, we always are concerned about the youth, and they do need things to do. But you can address
We sure do.
all ages.
And I think as adults, we need to unsettle a little bit. But for youth, let me go through, soccer, flag football, t-ball, Little League baseball, even night basketball, and this gets a little bit advanced in age, but even adult kickball, just any activities to get us together, again, together we can, and to get us moving again, to get us feeling better about ourselves. Those are the things, and we've got the facilities. We just need an organized program. As candidate Andre Jones said, when you move recreation into street, you just kind of make it a second, a byproduct or a second thought, and it needs to be a priority. That's, as mayor, that's what I would do, is make that recreation department a priority so that people of all ages can get out and get moving.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that. Now, moving on into another, sometimes it can be a sensitive area. How, if elected, how will you address the races in Holly Springs? We seem to be so separate. It's very few times that we actually come together, black, white, brown, whatever race. So, how would you try to make sure that we're Holly Springs, not I, not them, not you, not me? How would you address the coming together of the races?
Well, that's a tough topic, and a lot of people, refuse to talk about it. But I do feel that there are race relation issues here in Holly Springs, and I just feel, in my capacity, if elected to the position, I would do everything that I can to address those issues. Treating everyone equally. You know, the city, hosts a lot of events and things like that, throughout the year or whatever. And, that's made available to all citizens. One of the things that I do, that I will like to see, especially out in front of the multi, as a marquee, and that way if some programs are going on at the multi-purpose building, people know what's going on. They may drop in or they may not. It's just, having that option of knowing what's going on, So I feel that, as I said, the race relation is definitely a concern, and I do everything that's within my capacity, to make opportunities available for, all races to come together, participate, mingle, fellowship, and try to make it better in the city.
One thing that comes to mind is we say we love and we appreciate diversity. But if diversity leads to divisiveness, it's not what we want. So I think we need diversity, but also we need a togetherness, a community mindedness. And I think if people know that they're being treated fairly, they'll be likely to come together. Communication certainly seems to be needed to an effective communication to people as far as what they can do, who they can contact if they have a need, and make sure that they are getting served. But I go back to my law practice over the years has been essentially 50-50, black and white. I've just never seen the difference. If I take a client's case, I will represent them as effectively as I can. And as a mayor, I'll do the same for the citizens of Holly Springs.
Okay, thank you. Now let's shift into criminal justice a little bit. What criminal justice reform do you feel is most important, Andre?
Well, if you're a citizen of Holly Springs, I'm pretty sure you are aware of the area that we refer to as behind the hood. And that's one of the areas that is heavily criminalized here in Holly Springs. So I feel like that area, once elected, is definitely a priority. I'm a fan of community policing. Police is getting out their vehicles and actually walking the streets, shaking hands, talking with the citizens and things of that nature. And not so much of, since it is community policing, that person is, known in their area. They're known, So I feel like community policing is something that definitely should be implemented here, in the city of Holly Springs.
All right, Kai, criminal justice reform.
Yeah, we could spend a lot of time talking about that, but certainly I would say this: I'm probably very liberal as far as our personal choices are concerned. Consenting adults are concerned, but if it leads to our rights or responsibilities, our rights stop where another person's nose begins. So anything that I kind of distinguish any assault or anything that involves harm to another person is very serious, and I take that very serious. And I am pro law enforcement and would support our men and women in blue very much. But Some of the other things, it seems to me, I've long been an advocate that marijuana should probably be sold and taxed to raise revenue. That's to me not a drug that that adversely affects somebody. An adult, consenting adult, is not. But that's I don't know as a mayor what our city board could do about criminal reform, but that's just kind of my thought on it.
Okay. Thank you. Now, still kind of staying in that area of crime, what is your plan for targeting high crime areas? And Andre, you kind of alluded to this already, but what is your plan for targeting high crime areas, gang and gun violence, and combating drug problems?
In the high crime areas, I plan on having um, a policeman, patrolling that highly crime, area, 24/7, and because we got 5 different wards, so we can have a patrolman for each ward. That would be, my opinion as far as the how the crime areas go. Mm-hmm. And in terms of drugs and things like that, just again, staying on top of the police department and having a relationship with the police chief, of course, and working with the police chief and make sure that he is on top of those things of that nature.
Okay. All right. Okay.
So crime, it seems to me that, in my experience, that when a crime problem breaks out, Holly Springs, again, yeah, we've got crime, but Holly Springs is a very manageable city still, a town of roughly 7,500. People should get to know each other. Some of the most effective crime combatants are neighborhood watch, things like, just patrolmen on the streets, as candidate Andre Jones alluded to, and just, getting out and having those citizen groups to form. Also, I know it's been some time since that victims fund was of Crime Stoppers, excuse me. I'm not sure that it is active, but we should implement Crime Stoppers again. But it seems to me that that crime spikes when either someone is paroled or released, a prior convict, a recidivist is back in our community, or when someone falls victim to drug or other substance and has to, steal, rob, whatever, to support that habit. So certainly, rehabilitation programs should be available, but I think mainly, again, if we just get out in the community, have our police officers and our investigators know their citizens, and let the citizens know them, that they're there to serve and protect and to serve, then we would see crime go down.
Okay, thank you. Let's talk about finances for a little bit. Do you have an opinion about the city's financial stability? If so, what? And also, if elected, what 3 steps would you take to put our city on a firmer financial footing? Andre.
Okay, in terms of the city's finances, I am aware, with the past administration, they have developed a reserve fund, and that's great in terms of the city's financial stability. We also got to do a better job that I'm aware of is managing our utility department. I did see the most recent utility audit, and it's a lot of things that are in those findings that we need to correct, if I am elected. I don't really have a blueprint as far as the steps that I would take to get our city in a better financial state, but it's just all about just going in, looking at the budget, seeing, what's necessary, what's a priority and what's not in terms of that.
Okay. Kai?
So the areas for, I think first, you would get in and look at the current budget and just see if there is, see if there are any reductions can be made. I know a job to someone, their job is vital, and I'm not talking about just making cuts. And you know, I have no scorecard or anything going into the office to make any recommendations right now for any personnel changes. But as I would assume the office and get into the budget, that's what I think you would first look at to see if we could be any more cost effective. The other thing is, and I mentioned being an ambassador for business, one of the 3 A's, recruit business to increase the sales tax, to increase the funds into the budget, I think would be necessary. I just, one thing, if I could jump back to that crime matter a while ago when I said I support the, look, I think citizens deserve and need to feel safe, and I would assure you that I think there's room in the budget to increase officers' pay and make sure that that we've got the very best, you know, hired and enforcing, patrolling our streets. But I don't know if I mentioned 3 things or not for you, but examine the budget, recruit business to increase tax revenue, and then I guess 3 would be, I'm not sure I have a 3rd.
Okay. All right. That's fine. Thank you, Kai. One last question. How do you plan to involve residents in the decision-making process in our town?
Well, the Mississippi statute, they do have an open meeting act, and which allows, you know, times for, you know, citizens, as far as the meetings being, you know, open to the public, you know, and then you have executive session for different reasons that's expressed in the statute. So I just plan on creating a time where citizens are able to come in and address their concerns, you know, during the meeting. And you also can create an advisory committee of citizens where, you know, if citizens have concerns, they talk with the advisory committee members, and then that way that committee is in direct communication with the board of aldermen and the mayor, and they can express their concerns that way as well.
I'm not sure what our city's been doing for instance, streets or potholes, because I see damaged streets that continue to go neglected, and curbs and gutters that may get some a little bit of service, but continue to have grass and build up. And my thought would be for if a citizen sees something that needs to be addressed, and to have a hotline. I think I'm right that Memphis has maybe what they call the pothole hotline, that an issue of a pothole could be addressed. I think a work order could be created for any legitimate call that a citizen has with a concern, and that should be passed along to the right department, street department, etc. And then we should be able to see where that what was done and that work's been completed. That would be one thing I would try to address as mayor.
Okay, thank you for that. We thank you both for these candid answers you have provided for us this evening. We're now moving into our closing remarks and closing statements. We will start with you, Mr. Andre Jones. Please give us a closing statement to wrap it up.
Again, guys, my name is Andre Jones, and I'm a candidate vying for the position of Alderman Ward 2. I would just like to leave you guys with a Bible verse that my great friend, Mr. Dale DeBerry, always quotes. And I think it's Jeremiah 12:5. It says, if you race with men, how do you plan to contend with horses? And it's just like in relation to us trying to make our city better. We got to be horsemen, and we got to have a passion for what we do. Our heart and mind has to be tied directly to our mission in making our city better. So again, I feel like I am the best candidate, for this position. So again, on June 8th, guys, go to the polls and vote Andre Jones as your next alderman. Absentee voting is going into June 5th. And thank Mississippi Roses as well as the Marshall County Bar Association for holding this political forum on today.
I would love an opportunity to serve, and I qualified as an independent just so you would have an option to consider on June the 8th. My thoughts as we close is that one thing that's kind of guided my principles in life is that my grandfather years ago let me grow cucumbers a couple of summers, and he still plowed with a mule, and so I got to actually plow with a mule. And as we turned rows up and then got ready to make a center row with a plow, I was making a terrible row, a center row behind the mule, and he said, "Kai, just dig that plow deep, dig it deep, and you'll plow straight furrow right up to the end of the row." And that's kind of been my experience in life, is if you dig in deep and give it your best, then good things will result. I want you to know that I love Holly Springs very much, and that every decision that is made from that board will be fully discussed. All the board members will have an input, and we will make the best decision we can for you, the citizens of Holly Springs. Thank you.
So once again, we do thank you for your time, the privilege of your time. I am Sharon Goodman-Hill. Thank you.